I was going into organizations and people were just exhausted. So next slide, please. People were just exhausted. They were going through this cycle I'll explain to you in a moment. But what I was seeing was people that would show up, pushing through, digging deep, as I say. They would be very much aligned to what had to be done, so targets that were very much driven by the organization. And they were also pushing their team. And any of you know that are responsible for any group of people actually is, you know, trying to get people to do things when their hearts aren't in it, let alone your own. It's really hard. And so what I was finding is that a lot of leaders that I was working with felt that it was almost acceptable that they would just go at the end of the day and glug a few glasses of wine. It became just like normal for them, or they'd be binging on food, or that actually how they felt about their families, their own mental health. You know, it was just sort of part of the course that somehow, you know, they could recover through doing those activities at the weekend or in the evenings. That's not recovery, is it? It's actually filling up those needs that are lacking. So you're not having enough sleep, not having enough stimulation at work, not having enough feedback, not feeling good about what you do. It's filling up that lack of your needs being met with other things that become bad habits. And I've noticed that time and time again with the people that I was working with. Their jobs were brilliant. What they were able to achieve was mind-boggling. But the personal cost to them, well, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. I wonder how that's changing through the situation we're in at the moment, and I'm going to invite you to share that in a moment. Next slide, please. So what I've come up with is something that I've called the depletion cycle, and it's this idea that, if we start at the top here, that a lot of people actually feel fairly unfulfilled at work. And when we know the engagement figures, actually prior to COVID, they've recently slightly gone up, but the COVID pre-COVID figures were 13% of people were actively engaged at work. That's an awful lot of people, perhaps yourself included, who just aren't fulfilled by the work that you do. And when that's happening, when you really don't feel like you're working on purpose, then you become disengaged with that work, and that disengagement carries on through into your home life. And that's where I was starting to see people actually buying stuff or doing stuff that cost money, and therefore needed to go back to work in order to make the money in order to pay for those things. It becomes a cycle. There's many different versions of that. So I would love, in the next slide, I'm asking you the question of, you know, what does your depletion look like right now?